here. Lady Cindy wanted to join in to offer you some wisdom this afternoon. I wanted to start by saying that everything that we do here, or that I do as a spiritual healer and as a teacher of spiritual healing, is very much grounded in the practicalities of how the spirit and your spirit can help you with healing, with the quality of your life, and with your personal growth. And today we're going to talk about many of the old stories and narratives that we have about self that really do not suit, they don't match, and they actually do not define who you actually are right now in the present. Okay, they've become outdated, and in becoming outdated, they start to pull you back and hold you back in regards to your health, your quality of life, and your personal growth. So, have you heard of the word conditioning? Conditioning is thrown around a lot in my field, and conditioning refers to how the world around you and the experiences that you have had in the world have shaped who and what you have come to know yourself to be. They have shaped your identity, or at least part of your identity. And all of us, we are all shaped and conditioned, for example, by the culture, society, religion, political climate that we find ourselves in. And we are also shaped by the individual and collective traumas that we experience in this world. We're shaped, of course, by our childhood. That is a big one that I'm sure all of us can relate to. And this shaping, it often gets turned into these stories about self, these stories that we have about self that become part of our belief systems about self, and they become central to our identity about self. I can think of a couple of examples from my life. When I was younger, I had a lot of chronic illness, and I really started to believe that I was pathetic, hopeless, lesser than other people. Because, why was I sick and my peers around me were functioning in the world as normal human beings? That must have meant that there was some kind of deficit within inside of me. So I started to develop this narrative, this story inside of myself of being lesser. And another example that I can think of in my life is around being psychic. I am highly psychic. And when I was little, I found that very confusing. And I can remember when I was little, I used to often say to myself, I wish I was normal. I had these words in my mind. I didn't know why, I didn't understand, but I'd often sit there thinking, I wish I was normal. I wish I was normal. And I would try very hard to be normal, whatever normal is. I mean, goodness, who knows what normal is? But I would try really hard to fit in and be normal. And so I started to base my behavior and the way that I was acting and the way that I was thinking and feeling in the world based on this desire to be normal. And what happened was that I started to become very disconnected from a really important, valuable part of myself. I started to disconnect from it, disassociate from it in order to be whatever normal is. So sometimes these stories from your past are cluttering up your psyche, and they can start to become the lens through which you see yourself in the now. And they might be a story of I'm not good enough, with a theme of I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, I'm unappreciated, and so on and so forth. Whatever it may be, these stories, they start to become blockages, and they hinder your forward growth, your forward movement through life. And sometimes they keep pulling you back into the past. So, how does spiritual healing help? I'm so very glad you asked, because that's what I'm here to talk about. So, your spirit can help you break through blockages created by these old stories, okay? How? So, spirit is truth. Your spirit is the truth of who and what you are. And what I mean by that is that your spirit is your enduring truth. When this life ends, your spirit continues and your spirit goes on. Okay? So your spirit is a light, and that light has a vitality and a life force that is filled with all the wonderful, interesting, unique characteristics and qualities that are you. Okay? That all those wonderful, unique characteristics and qualities that are unique to you. All right, so that's your spirit and your soul, right? Your soul has most people have had many lifetimes and eons of experience. Your soul has eons of experience of being your spirit in a human form. And it has collected a lot of wisdom along the way. And together, this light from your spirit and this wisdom from your soul can anchor you. It can anchor you into a deeper truth, a more sustaining, authentic truth of self, away from the conditioning, away from the old stories. And your spirit can help keep you grounded and centered to your truth while you navigate your way around and through these blockages and away from these old stories, okay? As you transpose and remove these old stories. So I just want to finish by saying that your spirit can help facilitate acceptance and love of self. And acceptance and love of self is central to supporting you to release these old stories. Your spirit can also be a buffer, a space free from the world and what the world needs you to be, or what the world's trying to telling you what to be. Your spirit creates a buffer away from that. And when you are more grounded and centered in that existential truth of who and what you are from your spirit light and your soul wisdom on that deep level inside of you, then your ability to support yourself through blockages and obstacles that you will inevitably encounter in this life is much easier. Okay? So if you've got to that place that you've moved a lot of your old stories and a lot of blockages, but there's some really stubborn ones that are left, then spiritual healing can be an excellent thing to do. And also working with the healing spirit Kali can be fabulous. Kali is excellent at getting in there and chopping away, getting rid of those blockages, those old stories, and all the illusion that comes from them that obfuscates your ability to be able to connect to that deeper truth of self. Hey, my dog is starting to bark. Carly is excellent at supporting you in that, and I have a course with Carly that provides you with a lot of wisdom from Carly about moving through blockages, also supports you with some very practical tools to help you heal your way through blockages. And you can access that course anytime. I'll put it in my in the comments at the end of this Facebook Live. All right, thank you so much for your time today. Goodbye from me, and goodbye from Lady Cindy.